the growing integration of ESG criteria in investment decisions stems from its perceived ability to enhance equity returns. So let me just share some number to underline its growing significance. By 2016, for example, $22.9 trillion in assets were managed under ESG strategies, which is a significant increase from 2014 of 25%. So the research focused on whether ESG factors offer an added value to the portfolio performance, and specifically, can we use ESG as a unique driver of returns beyond established equity factors, just like the size, the momentum, or the value. So this question is actually critical for both academics and practitioners in understanding the role ESG plays in modern investing in a more sustainable way of investing. So let's take a closer look at the evolution and the drivers of the ESG in asset management. So the roots can be traced back into the 1980s, when socially responsible investing began to gain a certain momentum. This laid the foundation of what we know now as ESG-driven investments strategies. So one of the major factors behind the ESG is the client demand. And today, 26% of the global assets are managed under the ESG strategies, which is reflecting a growing expectation from investors for a sustainable and responsible investment. So, but the challenge here is actually it lies in balancing ethics with performance, because the ESG strategies aim to align financial returns with ethical considerations, and that's a dual goal that continues to shape discussions in the asset management industry. So to better understand the ESG as an equity factor, let's just have a look at the data and the methodology that was used during this study. So first, the data source, it was the MSI ESG database that was used, and it contains the ratings of more than 16,000 global companies over a decade, so from 2007 to 2017. And these data sets allow the researcher to capture a wide range of ESG-related metrics. And so second, these metrics evaluate companies based on environmental, social, and governance factor, obviously. And the results are consolidated into an overall ESG score, which provides a great view of each company's performance in these areas. And finally, the methodology that was used involves constructing market neural portfolios, and the ESG ratings were used as predictors alongside other established financial factors to test if the ESG truly adds a value beyond the traditional factors. And this approach provides a systemic and data-driven basis to assess the role of the ESG in investment strategies. So next, let's discuss some bias that are present in ESG ratings. It's actually critical in order to understand the limitations. So first is the large cap bias, because higher ESG scores are very often correlated with larger market capitalization, meaning, bigger companies, they obviously tend to score bigger. Then we have the geographic bias. In developed regions, developed regions typically have a better ESG score, but this is partly due to adjustments in the rating methodologies that actually favor companies in this region, because obviously it's more easy to really be a great company in a developed country, for example. Obviously the ESG score will be also high. And last, we have the volatility correlation. So this correlation explains that the companies with a lower stock volatility are more likely to receive higher ESG scores, which is kind of normal about that. And if we recognize these biases, we can say that it is crucial for investors and researchers, because they can actually influence a lot the results of ESG-based analysis and strategies, which will not exactly give the best outcome or the best assessment of these companies. So Now let's discuss the ESG as a financial predictor, and we will examine, well, the portfolio performance on that. So first we have the market neural approach. So we said this method used ESG ratings to construct portfolios in order to um, to be independent of overall market movements, and it's isolating the impact of the ESG factors. So second, the results showed flat performance globality, flat performance globally. Sorry. Portfolio built on ESG ratings, they did not produce significant global returns or overall market movement. And this highlights that ESG on its own may not generate enough performance or not significant performance. And then, well, the geographic variation, well, the study shows that European market showed marginally positive results for ESG titled portfolios, while in the US markets, for example, it lagged a bit, which presents like a mixed outlook. And it suggests that ESG may influence performance in certain contexts, but its role as a consistent financial predictor, well, actually remains quite limited on that basis. Now we have, well, the breakdown of the ESG component. So let's analyze together the environmental, social, and governance score. So first, we have the environmental and social score. There is no significant contribution to the performance because, well, the results were largely indistinguishable from the statistical noise. It highlights their limited predicted value in this context. But then we have the governance advantage, and this component demonstrated a slight advantage with marginally positive performance, but this may be primarily explained by its correlation with the profitability or quality factor and not as a standalone one. And obviously, well, most of the time there are some pressure, there's some regulatory pressure from the government that really highlights this governance advantage, which is actually another bias. And then we have a local correlation between the zones. Well, ESG predictors, they quite liked consistent performance across different regions. As we explained earlier, it is also the fact that there is a geographical bias in the ESG score. And well, breaking it down like that, it really emphasizes the nuanced and limited role that ESG components play in equity performance. So let's discuss more about the limitations of the ESG integration, or more over the challenges that ESG-based strategy face. First, we have the data quality issue, because, well, ESG's analysis, they are made with short historical coverage and quite inconsistent standards among different providers, which makes it difficult to rely on the data for comprehensive evaluations. Then, second, we have the lack of universal benchmark. So comparing the different ESG portfolios across different providers is challenging because you don't have any standardized benchmark that will actually be the only source of truth for the ESG ratings, and it actually leads to well, a certain discrepancy in the results. And lastly, well, we have the misalignments of the different goals. So the ESG strategies often promise long-term benefits because, well, they that's what they want. They want to be more beneficial on the long run, but they actually clash with the short-term financial incentives, which actually makes the adoption of this practice a bit slower. And well, if we can overcome these limitations in the future, well, it would be crucial for ESG to become a mainstream and reliable component of well, the investment strategies, and how should we invest in different companies according to their environmental, social, and governance criteria. Okay, so now we see here that we actually need standardization in order to improve the ESG frameworks. So to improve the frameworks and its effectiveness, we actually have to standardize the process. We need to implement universal ESG standards, because like framework like ASB's materiality map aim to align global ESG efforts while ensuring consistent definitions and expectations across different markets. Then we have the provider transparency. If we know who are the data providers and that we actually know on the methodology, well, we can remain consistent in the quality of the ESG assessments, and it will build more trust and more reliability for the investors. And lastly, well, improved comparability. If we have a standardization of the benchmarks for different ESG portfolios, well, we will be able to produce and to provide accurate performance evaluations, which will make it easier for the investors, once again, to compare the results across different providers, across different strategies, and so on. Well, I won't say that it is the best option and that everything will be solved, but standardization is quite the key to address the challenge that we have discussed earlier, and it can be paving the way for ESG integration to achieve, well, actually its full potential at some point in the time. But let's discuss about the contribution to sustainability. Well, how ESG can shape socioeconomic strategies. Well, if you can integrate ESG principles, organization promotes long-term planning and accountability in their investment decisions. Well, it will ensure that sustainability remains a core focus, especially in a world that now is actually rapidly changing, and the need to be more sustainable is more and more present. So then we have the ESG that plays a role in enhancing transparency, because, well, it improves the public trust in corporate governance and investment practices, and transparency fosters better relationship between the companies and their stakeholders. And it gives actually people, well, the ability to fully trust the company, fully trust the process, in order to know how the company will behave in the long run. And then, well, the ESG can be a driver of innovation, which encourages sustainable solutions and more ethical practices across industries, such as a circular economy, or just reducing the different waste that they have, or reusing this waste. And it actually can inspire companies to adopt technologies and practices that will address the pressing environmental and social challenges across every company in the industries, and it will really enhance this need to be more sustainable in the future. Yeah, so that's it for the sustainability. Let's discuss the future of the ESG integration. So let's explore well, the challenges and the opportunities. First, there is the task of bridging short and long-term goals. So what does it mean? If we can align the ESG objectives with immediate financial incentives, it will be able to remain a critical challenge for organizations that are aiming to integrate sustainability in their strategies. If we can also address data challenges, well, we know that it would be essential in the future, because improving data quality and accessibility will significantly enhance the decision making and the build confidence in ESG-driven strategies. And finally, while the institutional adoption will encourage a widespread integration of the ESG into core investment frameworks, and will help to create more sustainable and responsible financial ecosystem. And well, actually, we can see that the future of ESG integration really lies in addressing these challenges while leveraging different opportunities to create value for both businesses and the society. So what are the actionable strategies to advance ESG in practice and address some of the challenges that we have outlined? So we need to develop consistent metrics, establish unified methodologies for ESG assessments. We have to strengthen the regulations also, because it will enhance the compliance framework and ensure that the reliability and accuracy of different ESG data by fostering greater trust in ESG-based strategies. and we should encourage stakeholder engagement because, well, the collaboration among investors, companies, and regulations is actually can be the key in order to drive meaningful process in ESG integration and achieving a broader and sustainability goals. So, in the future, let's discuss the role of ESG in transforming societies. We can reinforce ethical investments because, well, if we promote responsible investing, it will be aligned with global goals that ESG encourages a culture of accountability and long-term thinking. Second, it plays a crucial role in accelerating green innovation. ESG fosters the growth of industries that prioritizes environmental resilience and sustainability, and it will actually drive forward solution to today's ecological challenge. And well, finally, the ESG helps in creating lasting impacts by transforming how business operates. ESG actually ensures a balance between people, the planet, profit, and it actually lays the foundation of a more sustainable economy. In conclusion, we can say that ESG serves as a vital tool for shaping a future that aligns with our collective societal and environmental operations. So, how can we conclude? Let's just summarize the key takeaways about the future of ESG as a factor. ESG metrics are not standalone equity factors, but they actually offer valuable insights for responsible investing and portfolio management. Then we know that improving ESG applications such as standardization, innovation, and transparency will actually enhance the ESG strategy to be more effective and widely adopted. And last but not least, well, the call for action. The call to action collaborating among different investors, companies, regulators, and the combination of these three things, of these three elements, well, they can actually make it essential for the advancing in ESG goals and creating a sustainable future, which will eventually lead to something better on the long run. So thank you very much for your attention, and have a nice day.